This video is going to cover the box setup. If you've read the description here inside of this document, this video will be a bit redundant. So I'm just going to cover what's already described right here above in the text. So we're going to go into Warehouse up here at the top. We're going to scroll down. Underneath Configuration, you're going to see Box Setup. And in here, you're going to see all the different boxes. Now, this is two things. The first thing I want to talk about is boxes used for delivery orders. And the second thing I'm going to talk about is sort of what we call packs. You could consider it to be a container, whatever you want to call it. And this is how we receive incoming shipments. Okay, so first thing here, you're going to see a bunch of these that say USPS, flat rate, etc. And then you're going to see some in here which are just boxes that don't have that name. You'll see some in here where the shipping carrier is defined, some where it's not. You see some where the type is box, some is pack. So let's start with the USPS boxes. So let me show how this works. So we're going to come in here, and you most likely will not need to change this. You know, you may need to tweak the dimensions slightly. So what I did when I set these up, I put in the dimensions and I subtracted out like 0.1 inches off of it because the USPS gives us the measurement on the outside of the box. So this way we have a little bit of margin. You know, if you think you can overpack a box in one dimension and you want to increase the height slightly, you can do that. So here's how this works. If we come in here, we click Edit. So we've got the box name. We put in the height, width, length. The weight is the weight of it empty. So for flat rate boxes, the weight doesn't really matter. It's not taking weight into account, but we still go ahead and put that in there. Maximum weight, I don't know if we're even using it right now, but the idea behind maximum weight is the maximum weight the box could hold. And also, USPS for flat rate, they also, put limitations on the amount of weight we can put in the box. So I think for this, it's like 70 pounds. But we're not selling anything that would weigh 70 pounds that would fit in that box. So most likely doesn't matter. Down here where we say add to 3D bin packing, if this is a box that we're going to use for a delivery order, we need to check it. If for some reason we've run out of this box, it happens occasionally, we use a lot of a box, we forget to order it from the post office, the local post offices frequently do not have these things in stock, then we want to uncheck add to 3D bin packing, because when we go into the delivery order system and we tell it to select the box for us automatically, it's only going to select boxes where add to 3D bin packing is checked. And this is a third-party service we use where we send them all of these box dimensions, and we send them the dimensions of all the products for shipping, and then they do the crazy math. They figure out which box we should ship in. So because this is a flat rate option, we only want to use this box when we ship medium flat rate. We wouldn't want to use this box with a UPS shipment. So because of that, we choose a specific shipping carrier and shipping method, and the type is always going to be box if it's for a delivery order. Okay, so we didn't make any changes to this. Let's go back to box setup. So I've already pre-configured in here. You can see medium flat rate, regional A's, B's. You can see there's two different flat rate boxes. They're two different dimensions. One's top load, side load. Same with the regional A and B. But again, let's say we don't ever use the side load regional B, then you're going to want to come in here, you're going to want to uncheck it. You can see as soon as I uncheck it, it went away. Those options go away. So now let me explain the boxes that are not for flat rate. So we've got some in here, some of these we might need to rename, but you can see we have different ones in here. So let's look at 12 by 12 by 12. So again, pretty straightforward. We have our dimensions. We've got our weight of the box empty. Now, this does matter for this because this is a box that's going to be used for a shipment like USPS Priority Non-Flat Rate or UPS Ground or UPS Second Day, where we calculate the weight of the shipment as the weight of all of the items we're going to ship plus the weight of the box empty. So if this is accurate and the weight of the individual items is accurate, we don't need to weigh the box before we ship it. If this is not accurate and the weight of the products that we ship is not accurate, then we're going to get charged by the carriers because we're going to be overpaying because we put too big of a number. We put 11 pounds when it should have been 10 pounds, or we didn't have enough postage. And with the post office, they might return it to us, or with UPS, they might do an adjustment. So down here you can see shipping carrier. I do not specify a shipping carrier because I want this box to be able to be used in all scenarios. If this box was only to be used by UPS, so you can see even here, the only time I would do that is if I'm using one of their UPS provided boxes. So if this is not, for example, we don't ever do these, but if you wanted to come in here and set up, this is, let's say, a UPS medium box, and we put in the UPS medium box dimensions, then we would do this. But right now we're not. We're going to use this for anything. And again, if this box is out of stock, we really need to uncheck this so that it's not calculated. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Let's go back to box setup. So again, we have all of our boxes. So, this one says box number 3. Let's say we go, you know what, that's kind of a dumb name. We're going to call this 20 by 5 by 5, right? And then we'll go ahead and click. We got to make sure, again, we have the weight, max weight. Again, you can put it in there if you want. And our type is box. Let's go back to box setup. Let me show you one here. This is an example. We've got one in here. You see it's a pack. It's called Blue 25 Kilo Drum Number 1. Now, the dimensions aren't really that important here. This is used to document the type of container a raw material is received. So, for example, we receive a 25 kilo drum of MSM. It probably comes in one of those blue drums. We need to know what the weight of that is. Here's why. Let's say that we are doing a physical inventory, and we've got a drum of MSM, and let's say we want to put it on the scale and we want to weigh it. So what's going to happen is we're not going to take the powder out of the container and dump it on the scale, obviously. So we're going to weigh it with it still in the container, but the container weighs something. So if we put in the physical inventory the weight of the entire thing, we're going to be inflating the weight of how much MSM we have. So what we do here is we say, well, we received this MSM, and let me show you where that gets documented. If you go to incoming shipments, and this will be done in the mobile app, it's going to ask you what box we received it in. It might call it a box name, but it's a pack inside of the box setup. And you can see right here on the incoming shipment, you'll see this new item here called box name. This is where, and again, we're going to be doing this through the mobile app, but you'll see here box name, and then we could choose, for example, Blue 25 Kilo Drum Number 1. And then what happens is the system knows that when we do a physical inventory, we need to take the weight on the scale, and we need to automatically subtract this weight from it. So we have 25 pounds, it says on the scale. The system knows to take 2.5 pounds off of it for this. It's essentially doing a tear. It's tearing the scale. But it's doing it automatically, and you don't have to worry about it. So to do that, and again, let's say there's 2 different types of drums that come in, but they're both the same weight. Then you don't necessarily need a new one. I don't care about maximum weight, pallet height. I don't care about any of that. If you want to put the dimensions in, maybe we use it later to figure out what shelf to put it on down the road, but not important right now. If we said add to 3D bin packing, it would make this an available option for 3D bin packing. That means it would be able to use this for an outgoing shipment, which we don't want. And if we had zeros in here, and we've selected this option, we would be telling 3D bin packing, hey, we have a 0 by 0 by 0 box that we could possibly pack things in. I don't know what that might do. If they might ignore it, if they might come back to us and say, hey, there was a shipment where we had an item that had no dimensions in it, and here's a box with no dimensions. So let's ship essentially a void item in a void box, and it's going to cause weird things. So point is, do not check 3D bin packing, and the type needs to be pack, because if you say box, then it's going to think it's a box. So for the incoming shipment ones here, we're going to say pack, and we're going to hit save. And then let me just show you when we do the 3D bin packing, kind of how that works. And there'll be a separate video on it, but just so you can see, it looks like all the shipments have probably been processed already. But when we come into a delivery order, you'll see here we've got under pack. So where it says box name, ignore that. But when we come into a pack, probably come into packaging lists. you'll see box setup, 12 by 12 by 12. So that's where the system decided, or whoever did the shipment decided, for us to ship these two things, we want to use a 12 by 12 by 12 box. And look, when I click it in the background, look what it does. It brings up that same record, right? So that's how it's all connected.